Okay, so I want to talk about the recent post that the Rell brothers put inside the Rell Seas Discord server. And I want to talk about, well, not only am I a little bit confused, but my concerns with the post and speculations as to what it may mean. Now, all I can do is speculate. Everything I'm doing here is speculation based off what I've read. We're going to go over it together and speculate some more. I'm going to explain each of the points I'm a bit confused about, what it means or what it may mean, because nothing is finalized. And yeah, let's just share our opinions about this, because this is a bit confusing, concerning. I don't know. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so on the 23rd of October, Roblox said we're removing gold sub within November. So in November, they're going to remove the gold and the silver subs. They said they've been stockpiling content to test with red and blue testers. Previously, we'd only test in waves, and that was the old method. And the old method was small focus tests, stop developing, fix, continue development, and then finalize all the things that were fixed and patched and things of that nature. And the new method is big batch dev content, which is probably just a bunch of content together, test all that content that's been thrown in together, fix whatever bugs and glitches they may have within all of that, finalize and continue development. So within no time in that development process do they stop development as they did before. Again, it's good they're being transparent, but like 90% of the player base don't actually even know what that means. Just want to throw that one out there. And then, as they said, as stated, we'll be conducting gold and silver testing phases once we finish red and blue testing for all current members. So, gold and silver members will be able to test the game at some point. Now, this is pretty concerning because we were meant to get movie 3 in October. At least it was rumored, speculated we're going to get it in October. Originally, CC was meant to start sometime this month as well, which is most likely not going to happen. We only have a couple of days left of October, about 5 or 6 days. So yeah, I'm very sure CC is not starting this month, and I'm very sure we're not getting movie 3 this month. And what scares me about that means we're most likely not going to get Rell Seas in 2025. Now, a lot of you guys are going to say, oh, Revolver, tell me something we didn't know. Oh, we already knew we weren't going to get Rell Seas in 2025. Blah, 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 blah. Well, obviously, if you follow along with anything the Rell brothers say, there was that whole issue with the Roblox stuff and the dev stuff. They said the game may get delayed. Then they said, hey, now we're actually back on track for this year release, which is actually really good. Yeah, with the time frame and the time that we have, October is finished, guys. October is finished. November starts next week. November, December, January. We don't have any time left this year for Rell Seas. Now, the reason I say that is because there needs to be testing for gold and silver. There also needs to be CC, and after that is when the release would happen. But we haven't had testing, we haven't had CC, and most importantly, we haven't had movie 3. I think movie 3 is probably one of the most well, movie 3 and CC are the most important things here. Forget the silver, and we don't care about the testing. CC and movie 3 are the most important things here, and those things don't exist at the moment. They don't exist, and we're in November. Let's assume, let's just speculate, right? CC started mid, because it's not going to happen early. Let's assume CC started mid or end of November. Rell Seas wouldn't have enough time to release for this year. Let's assume the Rell brothers decide to give us movie 3 and CC in December. Then 1000% chance of the game actually not releasing this year. And all of these are assumptions. I'm making assumptions. However, based on time frames, these assumptions can be seen as, you know, truth. Okay, so let's continue reading. Main menu test, customization, mission 1 tutorial test, combat mechanic test, ship combat test, CB's hunting test, and maybe C1 not confirmed. Now, this is probably the most concerning part to me, right? And I highlighted. This is probably the most concerning part to me. Maybe C1 not confirmed. If you do remember from all, you guys should know, the Rell brothers originally did say they want Rell Seas to release with free seas, which I thought was OD in my opinion. Like, we don't need free seas on release. Realistically, C1 on release would be, 1C in release would be perfect, and then C2 and C3 can be updates. Now, I don't know if they have C2 or C3 even made or done. I'm assuming they do, if they wanted to release with them, but let's say they do have it partially done, or let's just say partially done, right? That would mean it wouldn't take too long to get C2 after the release. Probably a month or a month and a half after release would get C2, which would honestly be perfect, right? I think C1 and if Devil Fruit's as hard to get as the Rell brothers said they are, or they are going to be, then having C2 a month or a month and a half, you can argue even 2 months after release, would honestly be fine. 2 months might be a stretch, but a month and a half I think is perfect, right? And the reason why I'm concerned about maybe C1 not confirmed for testing is if they don't test C1 within the testing period stated here, right? That would mean, or I would assume, that would mean C1 isn't in a complete form to have it fully tested in. Because if it was complete, they would want to test its functionality in general, right? If C1 isn't being tested within testing periods, that would mean C1 isn't all the way done. And yeah, that would mean delays in release and things of that nature. That would mean delays in CC, because I'm very sure CC is going to be in the game. CC phases are always in game. So if C1 isn't being tested, not confirmed, it means it may be, it may not be. But if C1 doesn't get tested, right, this is just on the side of if it doesn't, that would mean CC is probably going to get pushed back a little bit, and that would probably mean the game would get pushed back. Again, this is all speculation, just based off of me, if my concerns. Now, also, before we end this video, because I did want to just kind of, you know, state my concerns to you guys. We're removing gold subs in November, gold and silver sub. Now, obviously, if you have gold plus and silver plus, that stays forever. But why? Again, these are questions I have to ask, because, you know, maybe if I ask them, the Rell brothers will address them publicly. But why? Why are gold and silver subs being taken away? Now, obviously, if gold and silver subs are taken away, that would most likely mean the sub chat's going away as well. Why is this being done? Now, the only things I can think of is because maybe CC is coming up and they don't want any more people paying for it. So, like, CC's around the corner. Okay, we need to get rid of gold and silver subs because we're not giving out any more gold and silver plus. So it's like, okay, there's no point of having gold and silver anymore because we're actually getting close to the testing period, the public testing period, right? That's the first initial thought that goes through my head as to why it's going. Because if it's not that, then what's really the point? And then the other point, right, where it's like, okay, this could be a factor, is the Rell brothers already stated they don't really need money, right? They don't need the money. They don't need us consistently paying for these subs. So it's like, okay, we've got the funds we've needed to develop Rell Seas as a whole. We don't need silver and gold subs anymore because the funding for the game is essentially complete. So it's like, okay, we're gonna delete these stuff now. You guys are still gonna get your perks that you get for being a gold and silver. You're still gonna get tester. You're still gonna get in-game rewards when the time comes for those things to be given out. However, the sub chat's gonna go. You don't need to pay anymore, and here, like, just here. You know what I mean? But I don't. If it's not any of those two reasons, I just don't see why gold and silver subs are going away, especially if the game's not close to being released, because I'm pretty sure the sub chat is the only place you're able to actually talk inside of the Discord server. I'm very sure. I could be wrong, but I'm very sure the sub chat's the only place you're actually able to speak. But yeah, that's it for the video. I just wanted to talk about this stuff because, you know, I'm a bit concerned. I don't really understand this fully and the reasons behind it, and not maybe C1. This was the scariest part of it, because it just feels like, oh, okay, we're not gonna have Rell Seas 2025 if C1's not being tested. You know what I mean? It's pretty scary. So yeah, potential delays. Well, the end of October, we don't have CC, we don't have movie free, so potential delays. If we put the potential on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll put potential on a scale of 7.5. So potential delays for sure. It's pretty scary, but it is what it is, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what the Rell brothers end up giving us, the information they end up giving us, what happens. And if we go through November and we don't actually have anything of significance, as in movie free or the Rell brothers communicating CC is about to start officially, then we're not getting this game this year. 2025 is a myth, which will be upsetting because another year of promised games. Anyways, I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.